Good morning, or late morning.
Afternoon here.
Yeah, I usually go live a little earlier, but I was working on something this morning, and then when I was getting ready to go live, I was like, you know what? I'm really hungry, and I need to eat before I do this, so I don't want to get started and be like, I need to get off of here because I'm hungry. That's ridiculous. So, welcome in, everybody. Let's see. Bright Will, you had a front row seat. Yay. Um, and thank you for Forrest for coming in. Um, I didn't have this live scheduled up and out long, so we'll give it a few minutes for people to come in. How are you doing, Dolphin? Welcome up on panel with me.
Oh, I am just trying to get rid of the last little bit of this headache. So I'm on my second bottle of water, and I've got vape under my nose. So
You still
it's
sound really sped up to me. I don't know
do
what's
I?
going on. Yeah. Do you guys answer me in chat? Dolphin and I were having this debate. She sounds like she's on fast speed when she's talking. Do you guys get that?
Oh, this is really weird because I didn't do anything different. Oh,
Let me see if I got your everything
hmm.
turned up. Um,
Let me see. I'm looking at chat to see if anybody says I sound fast.
You guys, yeah, let Dolphin know if she sounds like she's sped up on fast speed to you guys, okay? So we can do a sound check here.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe I can reboot my computer or router or whatever. I didn't have any problems. I don't have problems in Discord. So
No, you
he
usually don't.
says quick and choppy. Okay.
Yeah, that's the way it sounds. How do I sound, guys? Forrest, what about me? Are we all good?
You sound good to me. Let me
I'm
see.
hearing like a little bit of an echoey thing too.
From me?
Just a little.
Hmm.
Just a little bit. Like, I don't know. Because we want to be able to hear you, man. We want to be able to hear you. Forrest, do I sound okay? I guess y'all can hear me. Do I cut in and out as well, Forrest? Is it just me? Oh, okay. I
No, you're
sound
not
good.
cutting in and out.
Okay, okay,
Let me mute this really quick in
okay.
Restream because I
I'll
want to
take you down
back
while
it
you try to figure it out.
up to hear what that is. Okay.
Okay. All right, guys, bear with us while Dolphin tries to get her sound fixed up there. Usually she doesn't have any issues. I don't know what's going on this morning, but we'll get it straightened out. Um, Thank you, Forrest. And yeah, thank you guys for being here. And anybody who's not chatting but watching, welcome in, welcome in. We're going to do some case updates here. As you guys may or may not know, today marked 1 year since Sebastian Rogers was reported missing. We're going to take a look at a few things there. I uploaded a video earlier of some of the audio from the that morning, the police audio. So I uploaded a video on that a little earlier. Um, and also added in the clips of the him and his mom dining out that night, and I added the clip of the latest released video of the someone walking around in the neighborhood. So I did put that together. If you guys haven't seen it, we may play it here in a later, but you can go check it out. It's on my YouTube page. Um, is that right? Sea Dolphin? Yeah, maybe you can get that squared away. As soon as she jumps back up, I'll let her back up on panel, guys. But yeah, we're going to do a couple of case updates. While we were live yesterday, those documents were dropping in the Koberger case. Right now, we have new documents we're waiting on to drop as well. We'll go over that here in a little bit. Um, got a Karen Reed update. She had court yesterday, and Rex Hurman had court yesterday. Um, so I tried to put together updates on those for us because those are two cases that we're also following here. So yeah, we're going to get going with that stuff here, and then we're going to take a look at what's on the case summary page in the Brian Koberger case, and then to go over them. If not, I'll come back on maybe this evening or in the morning and do them. How many of you guys are following Karen Reed? Do y'all want to hear? Because I'm still a little bit confused and lost when it comes to Reed. I'm trying to get up to speed. So, hello, Texas Ranger. Welcome in. Good to see you here. Always a pleasure. I love running into you in other chats. So just like, hey, buddy. Hey, what's up? a lot of you I see around in other chats that when I'm 12 Gauge has I saw him post up earlier. He has a show lined up tonight, and I think his guest is going to be Drunk Turkey, Daniel from Drunk Turkey Show. And they'll be discussing Idaho 4, I believe. And I mod for 12 Gauge, so that's where I'll be tonight, hanging out over there. We'll have to get 12 Gauge. Forrest, can you drop 12 Gauge link in the chat if you got it? If not, I can do it. And if everybody wants to check that out this evening, if you're interested. Yeah, good morning, good morning. Is it morning where you guys are? It's noon where I'm at now, almost noon, 2 or 3 minutes from noon. So we're just having a lunchtime crime and coffee conversation, I guess. So now, how many of you know? Remember the other day we watched a piece on the Sebastian Rogers, and they were going to drop an interview with his mom. Hello, Frank. Welcome in. Well, they did that, and I was a little disappointed. I think not disappointed in Katie. I'm not here to throw guilt or shame at Katie, at the news, because they broke up the interview and they made it like really short, and you can tell. So, but we will review that. Hello, Infinity. Welcome. Yeah, there you go. There's 12 Gauge's channel, guys. If you want to go over there and sub up and turn your notifications on. Like I said, I think he's planning a show tonight with Drunk Turkey, so I'll be over there hanging out modding for him while he's doing that, and that should be an interesting conversation. Welcome in, guys. Welcome in. I hope you're all having a good day so far. Still waiting on Dolphin to come back, and so far she hasn't been back up. She's trying to get everything straightened out. Interesting documents were dropped into the case summary file of Koberger, and when we get through our quick little updates here on the first 3 cases we're going to take a look at are just updates: Sebastian Rogers, Karen Reed, Rex Heuermann, and then we'll take a look at those the case summary page again, and I'll show you guys, and we'll talk about what they have filed. And there's some pretty interesting stuff in those. Once they do get uploaded, I don't know how much of it we'll be able to actually, glean from any of it, because if it's all okay, Dolphin, good. Everything's sealed and redacted, so we'll have to wait and see when those docs drop. But I didn't read you guys the last document yesterday. I just told you about it. They had asked for to lengthen their page limit or whatever, and the judge granted them like 20 pages versus 10. But I actually read the document after the live. I was like, well, heck, I should have read that document. So we'll take a look at that last document that we didn't look at. And like I said yesterday when we were live, they dropped documents, so maybe that will happen here again today. While we're waiting on Dolphin to come back up, I want to show you guys this. This was from, I think it dropped actually late last night or early this morning. I can't remember. I went to sleep last night. Well, it was off and on sleep, but it was sleep. And then this morning when I got up, I saw this, which I've been up since a lot of hours ago. Does that make any sense? No, it didn't. Okay, let me get her up here.
My son was when he went to bed.
Before I start playing it, I will say this: I don't parent bash in my channel. You guys can have your differences of opinions. You can have your thoughts and feelings on the case. That's not what I'm here to discuss, because I don't think any of the parents were involved at this point. I think it was totally something different. Although I know what all is out there, but just, giving you a heads up, you can absolutely disagree and have your feelings, but just be respectful in chat, because I won't tolerate parent bashing. There's enough of that going on in Idaho 4 right now, and we'll discuss that in a few minutes. But here, let's go ahead and get this going.
The last time I saw my son was when he went to bed.
Tonight marks 1 year since Sebastian Rogers disappeared from his home near Beach High School in Sumner County. He's 16 now, but there are still no confirmed sightings or leads in the case.
Fox 17 News' Kelly Avellino sat down with Rogers' mother, Katie Proudfoot, and the search for her son and the ongoing public scrutiny surrounding this investigation.
Green tea! A voice and an exuberant smile that have been missing for a year that Sebastian Rogers has gone without his favorite things.
Cats are the number one. He loves animals, almost all animals.
Animals, video games, books, and any chance in the pool.
He loves water. He swims like a fish.
Sebastian also missed his birthday.
December 7th. He turned 16, and he should be home for that.
But Sebastian, who has autism, hasn't been home since February of last year. After dinner at the Texas Roadhouse on the 25th, Katie says she and her son went home.
Did anything happen the night he went missing that might cause him to run away? Was he punished in any way? An argument? Just a normal night?
It was a normal night. It was a calm night.
That turned tumultuous by the next morning.
It was when I went in his room and he wasn't there. He wasn't in his bed.
Katie says she frantically searched the house and drove around the neighborhood at 6:30 a.m. until she and Sebastian's stepfather, who says he was away for work at the time, called police.
We need you to search your properties every day.
But an Amber Alert and an extensive week-long search didn't yield one significant lead or even a glimpse of the boy on any doorbell cam video. Days later, investigators combed through a landfill 2 hours away, still saying they had found nothing.
There is no evidence to support foul play is involved in the disappearance of Sebastian.
But at this point, you don't rule it out?
We're not ruling anything out.
For the next year, any activity involving Sebastian's case would fuel droves of online followers and even a restraining order against one YouTuber.
There were quite a bit of people that were, sending some very threatening and hateful messages to us.
What would you say to those people?
Just stop.
Fox 17 News sent the Sumner County Sheriff's Office, the lead agency in the investigation, a list of questions in anticipation of this story, including asking if there are any new leads, what kind of evidence detectives have vetted, and if investigators still believe there is no indication of foul play. Sheriff Eric Craddock responded in an email saying, "This is an active and ongoing investigation. We continue to work with our state and federal partners. Case."
What do you believe happened to Sebastian?
Unfortunately, over the last year, I have thought every single day, night, every moment of every possibility of something that could happen to him, where he could have gone, if he had gone with someone, if someone took him willingly, unwillingly, if he'd run away and got lost, if he'd a million different things. And unfortunately, I don't know.
But Katie and a private investigator she retained believe this piece of surveillance video taken the night that Sebastian went missing could be a lead in the case.
1217, a couple 100 yards away, there's a figure.
The Sumner County Sheriff said the video has no relevance to the case, but the Proudfoots aren't dismissing it until the identity of the person is confirmed by investigators. Unfortunately, any possible break in Sebastian's case has gone nowhere.
No child goes poof. He's somewhere.
Sebastian's father, Seth Rogers, has also endured a year without his son.
Sebastian, son.
Seth brought in a team offering their own reward of $347,000. That's on top of the FBI's $50,000 reward.
To stop looking is to give up hope.
Hope that's still evident among volunteer searchers.
I'm not going to stop.
Missing signs and ribbons in Sebastian's favorite color.
And God, right now we're seeking you to reveal the truth to us.
Katie says detectives searching for that truth left no question unasked.
Lie detectors?
Yes.
For yourself?
And my husband.
Which Katie says they passed. We don't know what investigators say about the test, but Katie says they have searched her home.
Thoroughly, many times. Cadavers, searchers.
What do police tell you at this point? What do they think?
Unfortunately, that they have zero evidence.
Zero trace of the boy with a smile that's imprinted on countless hearts, especially, Katie says, on her own.
I would just like to tell my son that I love him and to know that we are never going to stop searching.
So a lost smile can be found.
Anyone who believes they may have seen Sebastian Rogers should immediately call 1-800-TBI-FIND or the Sumner County Sheriff's Office. There is a vigil for Sebastian this Saturday, March 1st at 2 p.m. at the Celebration of Life Church in Hendersonville. And we will certainly continue to update you on any information we learn in his case.
Hey, Dolphin, are you back now?
Hey, yeah, I am. I haven't watched that video.
Yeah, that just dropped. The other day, that was Fox 17. A couple days ago, they said they were going to be doing this interview. It would be released today on the anniversary, if you can even call it that, of him going missing. And it dropped late last night or early this morning, one of the two. When I got up early this morning, I saw it. So I will, Frank. I just saw that notification. I'll get it in just a sec. Thank you. And anyway, that was a brand new interview from Katie Proudfoot with the Fox 17 there. And, nothing new to report. And that's unfortunate because, I'm not so sure that video from the night that we were they're referring to, if that, there's no guarantee that's not Sebastian.
Right.
Because
Am I clear now, by the way?
You are clear. You're a little bit low, but you're clear. And that low volume could be on my end. Let me make sure I got you turned up backstage. I do not. Now, maybe that'll help.
Okay.
Okay. But yeah, you're not talking fast and all choppy anymore, but it's a little bit low, but that could be me, like I'm saying. Guys, can you hear Dolphin okay now? Are we all good?
Yeah,
Somebody
let me know
us
if my volume is okay.
Yeah,
I was doing
thank
some
you.
research about the choppy microphone because I don't have the problem in Discord, so.
Yeah, and normally you don't have a problem here, the ER near his dad's house. Hold on just a second.
Okay.
I gotta text him back.
Okay. Yeah, it just said, could be related to an internet connection, and I know that's not the problem. Microphone settings, stuff like that. And actually, my audio drivers could probably stand to be updated, but yeah. Oh, thanks, Frank. Appreciate that.
Thank you for letting us know. Oh, okay. I'm taking a look at that, Frank. Yeah, I was able to do the same. When I did that video this morning, I tried to put in, hang on, my kid. Yes, child, yes. Okay. He's never taken himself to the doctor before, and now that he's 18, this is his first time, and I'm up here in the boonies with no vehicle, and he's down at his dad's with his dad's truck. I'm like, son, you need to drive yourself down to the little ER near your dad's. So yeah, he's like, what do I do when I go in there? I'm like, oh my goodness, baby. Baby, you go in, you sign in, and you have a seat, and they'll get to you. Anyway, oh good, her volume is fine, good deal. From the opposite side. Yeah, Frank, that video is weird. It just shows a figure walking around, and I don't know if that's Sebastian or not. The fact that Katie said that, I believe that it was around midnight, when she last heard the noise coming from his room, and she's like, son, it's time to go to bed, and he's like, I'm fine, mom, whatever. That was close to midnight, and then at 12:17 a.m. there's that figure walking around. So I'm gonna let the police try to figure it out. I wish they did release a statement on their Facebook page. I included that in the video I did this morning. Nothing new. I mean, there's really nothing in there to report on, except we're still working on the case, open investigation, all that. But they haven't clarified anything with any about that video or any of the things that are out there. So I can only base what I know about Sebastian Rogers' case on what's coming out in the evidence, and we don't have anything. You know, it's really unfortunate. Hold on. Sorry, guys. I don't know if y'all can hear that in the background. I do have another piece to play quickly on that one, and it shows you more about the investigation from this. Was it News 2 that they usually do a pretty good update on Sebastian when they do one. But we'll watch this one real quick, and then we'll move on to our next case updates. But everybody just, I wish that people would remember this is about a missing child and not each other. I'm not a part of all that BS over there and all that creator content fighting people. But I think it's sad that a lot of them are going to try to make bank today off this little boy's back. And they're going to just put out their narrative. They're going to go after Katie in the interview. They're going to tear every little thing she said to shreds. And I won't be a part of any of that. It's ridiculous.
Me either.
Right? I mean, what's it going to solve? No matter what we think or don't think, I don't think Katie did anything at this point. I don't think that Seth did either. I think the child walked out of the house. What happened after that is anybody's guess. We do know that the tracking dogs did lead straight to the pond. And in my video this morning, you can see the dog come around their house, and he's a scent dog. He's a live scent. He's the scent dog that they had that morning. And he just takes off down Kellen Road, and he's gone. And he's hauling ass right back toward that construction site, but, and then we all know, we hear on the audio where Max, one of the tracking dogs, Max was back there tracking and just dove straight off into the pond. And that was where that scent ended, and if you know the map, just beyond that pond is that cemetery in Ward Lane. Ward Lane's always bothered me because that was, if someone came in and took Sebastian, that was their way in and their way out. It wasn't from the front of that neighborhood. And it doesn't take a genius to probably figure that out, especially if you were plotting and planning something. Like, if I can go to the map and figure out the best way to do it, I'm sure somebody else could as well. Because if they had entered through the front of the neighborhood, multiple cameras would have seen it. You know what I mean? We do know that for haters have all went nuts about, but none of that to me made any sense except for the one that I see that little, an image walking around. I'm like, where's this person walking to? What are they doing? And who are they? And Sumner County says they've had that video since the first 72 hours and that they don't believe that was Sebastian, but I don't know how they know that. They haven't confirmed it, so... All right, we'll play this.
Well, today marks 1 year since Sebastian Rogers vanished from his Hendersonville home, triggering a multi-agency statewide search with hundreds of boots on the ground.
But 365 days later, Sebastian's family and the community of Sumner County, they still don't have answers. News 2's Caitlin Quisenberry has been on this story since the very beginning. She spoke with investigators today about where this case stands.
Everyone is out searching for Sebastian.
An active Amber Alert now in effect.
Day 3 is underway.
The tone has been centered around prayer.
A lot of us were like, we're going to find this kid.
1 year ago tonight, then 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers was seen for the last time in his home in Hendersonville. He is autistic and was last seen wearing a black sweatshirt, sweatpants, and glasses. His mother reported him missing the next morning, launching a full-scale search with local state agencies, the FBI, and even Secret Service.
I was out there from the time that I left here, my home in Clarksville. I would drive down there and I'd stay there until 10, 11 o'clock at night.
Hours turned into days and nights. That's when the community was really becoming a little bit more nervous.
After 8 days, still no sign of Sebastian.
Authorities are confident they have exhausted every single resource.
Then the case turned into an investigation.
We have no leads, no details to indicate that Sebastian is not alive.
They should have been investigating from day one.
There was just something about it that I was like, we're going to, especially when they didn't find him, like after those 2 or 3 days, I definitely was like, this is something we need to, keep track of and keep on our radar.
The case quickly gained national attention while Sebastian's father, Seth, continued looking.
The only thing that you can do as a parent is just to keep faith, and keep people out there actively looking.
By September, celebrity bounty hunter dog Dwayne Chapman joined the search as the reward ballooned to more than $300,000. 365 days later, holidays have come and gone, and Sebastian's 16th birthday passed without a birthday wish.
Be thankful you know where your children are, because I don't know where mine is.
The Sumner County Sheriff's Office continues to ask the public for pictures and tips. So far, no further updates have been provided, but many in the community still hope to one day bring Sebastian home.
We have to treat it like it happened yesterday and continue to push and continue to, and don't stop until we get the answers.
I have to have faith that my son's alive, and I have to have faith that I'm going to find him.
As the community continues to search for Sebastian, you're asked to call the Sumner County Sheriff's Office, the TBI, Chapman's tip line, or your local FBI office if you have any information on his whereabouts.
They want credible tips, guys. You know what I mean? They're tired. They need credible tips, not people calling up with rumors they heard on YouTube. Like, how annoying could that possibly be? You know, I imagine it's very annoying to get a bunch of random callers. You know, oh, I heard this on YouTube, and I heard that, and I saw this, I saw that. You guys should look into that. You know what I mean? If I was a cop, I'd be like having some smart shit to say. You all know that. Let me pull up something here. I wanted to show you guys something. Because I don't know how many of you followed this closely. Or where you were following it closely from, let me put it that way, if you were following at all. This is a map, and this is Sebastian's home, where the, you know, of course, where the red pin is, on Stafford Court. And then the scent dog came around the house, came around here, and just booked it up this road. And this is Kellen Lane, and Kellen led back to, you take a right here, and this was the construction site when he disappeared, and that's where that little retaining pond was at, and I believe that's the one they drained. Now, another thing I did want you to look at was, this is Ward Lane back here, and this is the cemetery through here, and it butts up right through here. You can literally drive down Ward Lane and get into the cemetery and have all the access you need to this construction site. And Ward Lane comes up off the highway here, New Hope Road. This is Long Hollow Pike, which leads to Sebastian's neighborhood. So I don't think somebody would, right here is where you would enter from the highway. But the fact that that scent dog ran up the road toward the construction site and dove straight off into that pond. I always wondered when I looked at the map, you know, was there, that's a very small road. I mean, it is, hold on. Where did my Ward Lane go? I wanted to kind of like put you on the ground. You guys can see these little back country roads are what they are, you know. Okay. And I'll put us right back here by the construction site. Look how tiny that little road is, you know, it's just two cars, two lanes, and it's a little country road leading back there, and from, like I just showed you on the map, from the highway back by the cemetery. Very small road, you know, it's very, very dark back there. There's only a couple of houses. Do any of these you know, I don't think from a long time ago you could even tell if anybody back here had a camera. And if they did, you know, if they get far off the road like some of these and look at the brush, you know, that's all around, what are they really going to see, you know? So that always bothered me about that location. It would be the perfect road to slip in. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, sure would.
It really would. And it also backs up to the high school, or shoot, the middle school is also, you can get from there. Thanks for joining, everybody. Welcome in. So let's just, you know, we can only hope that they can get somewhere with that investigation. Always, you know, Elizabeth Smart was gone 9 months before she was found alive and she wasn't safe. She never was safe the entire time she was gone. But she was found 9 months after her disappearance, hidden in plain sight, basically, except for the times he kept her up in the woods at their camp, at their little base camp. When they would go into town, he had her completely covered up. What do you call that? Um, where they wear, I don't know the term it's called, where they wear the long, dresses and their faces are covered. I don't know what
Is
you
that a
call it. I can't
hijab?
remember.
Is that what you're talking about?
A what?
It's a hijab. It's like HIJAB. I think that's what you're talking about. Let me look.
Yeah, yeah, that's what he had her wear each and every time, and you could literally just see her eyes. And so I always, hold up hope. Isn't there a Masonic lodge? I don't know. I'd never noticed one on that little tiny road, and that's a rabbit hole I don't think I want to go down, Frank. Masonic. I've had enough of the Masonics, from over there in Delphi. Anyway, um, so like I said, guys, let me get to the. So when we were live yesterday, I forgot or I didn't realize that there was a Karen Reed hearing going on, and boy, was it a long hearing. I was like, really? So I'm glad I didn't cover the hearing, honestly, because it got really long, and it was just like, what are they even doing? Um, and part two dropped of that. Remember, we played that interview that the guy from Boston 25 News did, a part one interview with Karen Reed. He dropped part two last night, and I think it's like 36 minutes long. So, um, let me get. Stop. Okay, let me get this up to give you guys an update on what happened in her. Remember when we did cover the hearing, the judge abruptly ended the hearings. There was things she was told that she didn't like. Um, yeah, I don't recall seeing a Masonic lodge back there, but like I said, I'll have to go look at it again. But I don't recall. Not back there in that little 2-lane road. Why would it be back there? The only thing you could access the school back there, and there's a few houses back there. But I don't recall seeing it. All right, let's get this Oh, my play button's way over here. Sorry, I got confused myself for a minute. So this is an update on Karen Reed. Like I said, the judge, called the problem is the prosecution is saying that the defense was paying the ARCA experts, and they were hired by the government, and either side was not supposed to prep or pay these experts. And once these experts testified, I think it was the first hearing, they sided basically with Karen Reed's side. And then so there was a chance one of her attorneys may get kicked off. But so they tried to get some of that resolved yesterday. Let's take a look at this and see. Yeah, the burqa only exposed it. I think it was the burqa, because that's it. You could only see her eyes.
Okay.
And the reason that she was discovered is the little sister finally remembered the voice. Right? Because she was in the bedroom when the guy took Elizabeth, but she was 6 years old and she couldn't remember who that was. And she knew she had heard that voice before, though. And then it dawned on her finally, it was the guy that would come around and do maintenance for the dad.
Oh,
and she told them, and she told dad calls the authorities. So the authorities start running a check on him. They're like, holy shit. And they put the information out there. So this guy was walking in the park and he spotted them. He's like, oh my God, that's that guy they're looking for. And, and he had 2 women with him. One was his legit wife and one was Elizabeth Smart. And that guy stayed vigilant until the police got there. He kept his eyes on her the entire time until authorities arrived. And when they first arrived, she told them she was not Elizabeth Smart. She's got her whole, I mean, I've presented what she has said. She's so strong now and she's doing magnificent, but it was kind of like that Stockholm syndrome. He had done threatened her and warned her and all the things. I'll kill your family. I'll do everything. She denied who she was when they first approached her. And she explains all of that. Do a search on YouTube and you can pull that stuff up, but she's doing really great now. So hopefully we can have some sort of ending like that in the Sebastian Rogers case. But so over here in Karen Reed, there's a hot mess going on, and they're all fighting over who did what. And it's disgusting when lawyers do that with each other. It's like y'all all all play by the rules, because if you don't play by the rules, what are we even doing here, right? I mean, it's just getting out of hand with some of these cases. So let me get this playing.
Today, Karen Reed back in court. It's the case that captivated the country for more than 2 years. The former professor accused of hitting her boyfriend, Boston police officer John O'Keefe, with her SUV and leaving him to die in the snow. And today's high-stakes hearing could have profound impacts on her upcoming retrial.
Are you worried that your defense will be removed?
Of course I'd be worried to lose any member of my defense team.
At question, her lawyer's handling of witnesses.
We know that we are getting a fraction of the story.
The prosecution has submitted what they say was an undisclosed invoice for nearly $24,000 from 2 expert witnesses to Reed's attorneys, and argued those witnesses should be barred from her upcoming retrial.
We have witnesses that were wholly portrayed as independent. When we look at the testimony, it was represented many times in court, leaving the impression that the defense had no access and no special relationship.
If the defense brings in an expert witness, they are almost always going to be paid. So that shouldn't come as a shock to anybody. It's absolutely true. If the defense paid them, they should have discovered that to the prosecution.
I don't think it's the defense that's creating ghosts, illusions, and shields here.
Karen Reed's attorneys fighting back against the allegations today, arguing that they were unaware that they would be billed by ARCA, which is an accident recreation firm that defense attorneys said throughout her case were independent expert witnesses.
The defense position is that there was absolutely no meeting of the minds that ARCA was going to be compensated by the defense. So here's the punchline, Your Honor, with the invoice. Came out of the blue. It came out of the blue.
Mr. Brennan. In a hearing last week, Special Prosecutor Hank Brennan read out loud email messages exchanged between defense attorney Alan Jackson and ARCA employee Dr. Daniel Wolf.
So my specialty in the area of lighting and human factors results in a lot of my cases involving pedestrians. Pretty important stuff in this case. And then he comments, if you don't want me to say this, that's fine. That's fine. Shh. Don't tell them.
The defense did not deny the messages, but says all communication was done through proper channels. Dr. Wolf had been a key witness for the defense during trial, testifying that John O'Keefe's fatal head injuries were not consistent with getting hit by a car, and saying the damage to Reed's taillight didn't line up with the prosecution's theory.
In your expert opinion, based on all your testing, is the damage to the taillight that you saw consistent with striking a human head?
No.
In your expert opinion, is the damage to the taillight consistent with striking a human arm?
No.
During the trial, Dr. Wolf was also questioned about his relationship with the defense.
Anyway, you haven't been paid by the defense?
You have not paid us anything, no.
And you don't work for us?
That's correct.
As a matter of fact, I've never asked you specific questions about your testing before today.
That is correct.
The high-profile murder case consuming and dividing the community.
Justice for JJ!
And sending many on social media into a frenzy.
Is she being framed in an elaborate cover-up involving corrupt cops, or did she back up into her boyfriend and leave him for dead?
Free Karen Reed!
At times, Karen Reed supporters swarming the courthouse.
But this one has turned into a salacious soap opera of a case. From the very beginning, emotions are running high.
It all started on a Friday night in January 2022. Reed and O'Keefe drinking with their friends at a local bar. Later that night, Reed says she last saw John O'Keefe after dropping him off at an after-party at a fellow Boston police officer's home. She says she awoke in the middle of the night and he wasn't home.
I called a few of his buddies, their wives.
In fact, no one had seen him, so she says she goes back to look for him in the car.
Now I have an immense sense of dread, like a fright in me that I have not experienced before.
Do you expect to see him like lying on the street drunk?
Yeah.
Or passed out?
I was worried he might have gotten hit by a plow.
Reed meets up with some of John's friends, and they all return to the house where the after party was, and then she spots him in the snow.
His eyes were shut, and he had spots of blood in different areas on his face, and he was still. Not stiff, but still.
John O'Keefe is soon declared dead, but the investigation is about to explode. Investigators finding pieces of a taillight they say are from Reed's car at the crime scene, alleging those pieces broke off after she hit O'Keefe with the car.
I was talking to my best friend on the phone, and I said, there's a lot of cops circling. And I said, I think I'm gonna get arrested.
Reed was later charged with second-degree murder, manslaughter, and leaving the scene, and pleaded not guilty. Would you say that you were angry with John that night?
Yes.
Could you have been angry enough and slightly drunk because he had annoyed you that in the fit of rage you just backed up and
Never.
tried to tap him?
I would
Not
never.
to try to kill him, but try to
Tap him with my 6,000-pound full-size SUV. To hit John's body with my car. No.
In the months leading up to the trial, Reed's defense team argued in hearings and filings a stunning new theory that the injuries on O'Keefe's body were not consistent with him being hit by a car. They claimed she was framed.
There are people in that house that are actually responsible for his death and who murdered him. And there are others in the house who are covering up
O'Keefe's death, and they denied that Reed was being framed. The homeowner testified in the trial, contradicting Reed's account.
And at no point in time over the course of that evening or the early morning there did John O'Keefe or Karen Reed physically come into your house.
John O'Keefe and Karen Reed never entered my house.
The defense questioning the lead investigator, State Trooper Michael Proctor, on the stand in an attempt to discredit the investigation, asking him to read aloud derogatory texts he sent about Reed.
If you could just read the responses from yourself, sir.
Okay, so these came from me. She's a whack job. Yes, she's a babe. Weird Fall River accent, though. No ass.
What, if any, impact did that have as far as your investigation was concerned regarding this?
These juvenile, unprofessional comments have zero impact on the facts and the evidence and the integrity of this investigation.
After the trial, Proctor was suspended without pay. The Massachusetts State Police said there's an internal investigation into his conduct. But after 5 days of jury deliberations, no verdict.
I'm declaring a mistrial in this case.
Family and friends remembering John, the son who always dreamed of being a police officer.
He was lost in this whole circus, and I think none of us want him to be lost. So I think we were all waiting for it to be finally over, so we can finally grieve.
I mean, that could be another 18 months.
It could be another 5 years.
And we're going to be there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All rise, please.
In November, Reed appealed to the Massachusetts Supreme Judicial Court, arguing she shouldn't be retried on 2 of the 3 charges because of double jeopardy.
The defense is arguing that after that verdict was rendered, multiple, to the tune of 5 jurors, supposedly reached out to the defense in one way, shape, or form, saying that was not our verdict. We were conclusive as to 2 of the 3 charges.
Her request was denied, the court ruling that the jury had said they did not reach a unanimous verdict during deliberations. Reed has since appealed to a federal judge. Her retrial is set to begin in April.
Now to a major development in the...
Okay, so they, I forgot when they are due back in court. So I don't know. I have no idea what happened to John O'Keefe. I do know about dogs, though, and I've raised pit bulls, and I had one who was very aggressive toward other dogs and not to humans unless you came at me, right? So I don't know what happened to John O'Keefe, and if that woman hit him, was it just a complete accident? I don't know. I don't know yet. I didn't watch the first trial because it got so messy and there was so many things about it that turned me off. I didn't want no part of it. And then I saw how it ended and I was like, okay, maybe I'll watch the second go around. Chloe was the dog, and it's odd that you keep Chloe all that time knowing has dog aggression, but then you get rid of her right after John O'Keefe passes away.
There was that, and wasn't there a remodel whatever in the basement or
Yeah,
something,
some sort of, yep, there was
changing
a
the
remodel
flooring or
going on.
something.
Yep, they did. They certainly did. And we all know that Proctor got in a lot of trouble. If there wasn't so many bad cops in that case, maybe I could get past some of this stuff. But when we start putting in the lying cops and then the social media aspect, that's when I don't want to be that. I don't want to be a part of the case. I want to watch the case. The scratches on the I yeah. But did you, I mean, what have been saying, I know what the expert said because I didn't watch the trial doesn't mean I didn't follow the case, right? So I'm following a couple of cases very quietly on purpose. But so I do know what they have said. Um, Yeah, but she didn't finish, canine training. So it's different when your dog is attached to the owner. And say just for theory, let me just theorize. What if he came into that house and there was some sort of altercation because one of the men in the house was at that bar with him and Karen Reed, and one of those men was texting Karen Reed. So what if they did get into an altercation inside that home? That dog may not react like a police canine dog at that moment, right? It's going to act like a dog owner protecting its owner. And I have my other, my second pit bull female. The kids couldn't even roughhouse without her wanting to get in there and bite at them to pull them apart. So I had to make them, don't do this in front of the dog. There's Growing up, we had a small white dog. My mom, if she tried to spank one of us, that dog would try to bite her. I'm just saying dog nature, I understand, but I don't know what happened in the Karen. I don't know what happened to John O'Keefe. We'll find out during the second trial, maybe. The man deserved, if somebody cold blooded murdered him, they need to pay for it, but that hasn't been shown to me yet. Well, I'm not a dog bite expert, so I don't know what those marks are from. Yeah, they found no dog DNA. I know all about all of that. Um, yeah, and I know that finding the tail light particles and stuff like that, that's all and the pieces of the tail light. I know all that's up for a great debate, but yeah, maybe I shouldn't cover Karen Reed after all.
Yeah.
One hardcore case to cover at a time, people. I just got out of Delphi and I'm at deep in Idaho again. I ain't jumping in the deep end on Karen Reed. I have no,
Yeah.
you know.
Plus the fact that if you haven't, really followed it all, all the way through,
Mhm.
like I said, I've know bits and pieces of it. And so I'm looking at chat and, I said, I don't think that it came from that tail light and I don't think it came from the dog either. I think it's something
Yeah.
else. So I'm, Infinity says, yeah, they're definitely from the car if it's perfectly, but I'm like, okay, I don't know. Was his sleeve also cut up? Because in order
Nope.
for that to be happen, yeah, in order for that to happen, his sleeve would have to be cut up because it was like butt ass
Yep.
cold outside. He wouldn't have had his sleeve rolled up, and like standing out in snow. So his shirt
Yeah.
wasn't cut.
Not on his arm apparently. And if you look at the wounds on his arm, I've tried to vision a car backing up into his arm and causing those sorts of scratch, those marks. It doesn't fit in my brain. I don't know.
Also, here's another thing. I know it was an SUV, but with his height.
Oh, truth. Come on. Nope, we all have a brain, honey. We just may think a little differently. All right, go ahead, Dolphin.
Oh no,
Sorry.
that's okay. I just was thinking a couple of different things. So this SUV, right? Obviously the taillights are taller on an SUV, but this guy was really tall too, right? Like if his arm is down by his side, would that part of his arm be right there where the taillight is? That's another
Right.
thing that I would want somebody to show me
Exactly.
while they're proving
Exactly.
it. I don't know if they actually did that already in court.
Right, because you got to take in his height consideration where his arm would be as per, compared to where the back of the vehicle would have been. There's a lot of that that goes into it. And I wish that they didn't have such a messy case over there and who's paying what witness, because expert witnesses are paid normally. The feds got involved in this case because there was a lot of shady business going down. Um, so, they cause some of that shady business, not the feds, but the local authorities, probably. You wouldn't have the feds come in and investigate your investigation unless there was something going on. So if you put all that into it, it's like, I don't know. And I trust me, guys. I get it. It was a bad investigation from where the things I have seen, and I follow a couple of Twitter feeds on it. And I don't follow some on it. It depends on who they are. But I've not seen anything that convinced me. Like I said, if she did back into him, it was an accident. Why first degree or murder charges at all? Do you know what I mean? Manslaughter, vehicular manslaughter, or something like that.
What kind of? It was a
Did they?
Lexus, right? The
I can't remember
SUV.
what she
I'm
had.
trying to remember exactly what model number it was.
Hang on, I'm getting. Dude, yeah, I'm not gonna be presenting a lot of. Dude, he was 6'2", you say? Okay. Um, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, as far as abrasions with no, damage to your clothing, yes, I get that that happens, but from the photos that I saw, those abrasions, cuts, whatever they were all over the place,
Mhm.
and I'm like, in all different directions, it seemed like, on what, the top of his arm. So I was just like, no rip, snag,
Yeah.
nothing on the clothes. But
Uh,
again, like I said, I haven't seen the clothes, so.
well, Frank is
Thank
saying it
you.
was a Lexus
LX
LX
570?
570.
Okay.
But let me ask you this, Frank. I see what you've sent me. So was John O'Keefe facing the back of her vehicle and threw his arm out the way by? She backed over him, or was he the second image you sent me? His back is to the vehicle. His back didn't have. We're talking about his arm. So if he had his back to it, I don't remember what year it was. Do you remember what year her vehicle was, Frank? I'd have to look it up.
Okay, great. I can check real quick. Because I would be curious if in this first trial, if they, brought into evidence things like, oh, this SUV is this tall, a man who's 6'2", like show me something with a man that's 6'2" standing behind that exact year, that exact model, you know, um, potentially throwing a glass.
It says that her onboard data system showed that she read reversed at 24.2 miles per hour for 62 and a half feet.
62 and a
And
half feet. Now that was right. Wasn't he somewhat close to the curb? I don't remember if
yeah,
that
he was
area
throwing up
had
in the snow.
sidewalks, but
Yeah. Like I would have to get all the information
yeah.
together and upload it get it on the computer so we can take a deep dive into it. Because with the new trial coming up, there's a lot of um, stuff that I would like to go over. Yeah, we don't. Yes, she skimmed him, and the fall caused his head damage. In the snow, the, the
Snow and
fall
grass, yeah.
falling into the snow caused head damage. I don't
Unless
know.
there was something in the middle of their yard or
Yeah, like,
whatever.
something under the snow that couldn't be seen. And the fact that, like Pokemon pointed out, when they started collecting blood in the red solo cups, that was like, are you kidding me? We got untested DNA in Delphi, untested DNA in Idaho, and they're over there collecting blood off the snow with some red solo cups. Give me a freaking break. That was my first indication that I'm not going to pay attention to social media anymore. And I'm going to look at the facts coming out in court, right? And that's where I'm at with this case, because that should be a problem for everybody. Like I got a problem with the untested blood on the stairway and the King Road residence if it was viable for testing, because I can't say that I wanted all that over there in Delphi tested and then turn around and say, well, it don't matter in Coburg, because it does matter. It does matter. But y'all should all have a problem with the cops rolling up on a crime scene and collecting blood in a Solo cup.
I know I do.
I'm saying, right? So we'll have to pick a night and do a deep dive into the Karen Reed case and look at what's going on there. I know where a couple of good Google Drives with a lot of documents are. His skull was already fractured from the spoiler.
So here's the question. For me, what was he bending over for his head to get hit by the spoiler?
So was it the arm that got the most damage, or was it his head? A fracture won't. I mean, my kid fell off. My kid has fractured his little skull when he was young from falling off the bed. Yeah, so it would have to be more than a fracture to cause his whole head to shatter when it hit the ground. Was his whole head shattered? I gotta look up stuff because I'm like, now I'm getting all these different information, and I get it. I do know y'all probably watched the whole trial and dug in deep on that one, but I was so far in Delphi, I was like not even paying attention to Karen Reed once all that YouTuber shit started going down, and shady cops everywhere. I'm like, okay, I'm not with all them cops. Can't do it. But we'll start deep diving it and take a look at things. All right, so we've been following the case against Rex Heuermann as well. Damn it, why does that shit always auto start? L. Rex was back in court yesterday. Remember we had looked at that, a little bit of this. Severe head trauma can be caused by a lot of things, can it? So we had taken last time we looked at Rex Heuermann, we were discussing that they were going to be fighting this new DNA technology in his trial. Boy, we're hearing all about some DNA lately. So we're going to go and move into the Rex Heuermann update, and then we're going to move into the Kohberger updates, because there's some documents on that thing I want to talk to Dauphin about and see what we come up with here. All right, so let's get this update, and while this starts to play, I'm going to go refresh my coffee. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Oh, shoot. Wrong button again. I'm like trying to hit play over there, and it's way over here.
Begin with the latest developments in the Gilgo Beach murder case. Suspect Rex Heuermann back in court for another pretrial hearing. Carolyn Gushoff is live in Riverhead for us this noon. Carolyn?
Chris, good afternoon. Rex Heuermann wore that same blank, unreadable expression on his face that he has had since the very beginning of this case, while the judge allowed another 2 weeks for the defense to receive more DNA evidence. And this judge appears to be losing patience, wanting to move this case along after a year and a half. One of the lagging issues in the case is whether there will be one trial or 5 in the murders of 7 women. The defense contends there should be separate trials because it influences the jury when so many allegations are lumped together. They now have 2 weeks to respond to the prosecution, which says it's a serial killer case. They all belong in one trial. Then the second major issue still lagging is DNA. Hair fibers found on the victims were matched to Heuermann through science called nuclear DNA, which has never before been used in a court of law in New York State.
This is novel information. They call it science. We're disputing that. I mean, it's prevented people from dying from disease. It's detected diseases. It's used in amniocentesis. It's identified war dead. It's identified remains of 9/11 people. This science has been around for many, many years. And if the defense wants to call it magic, that's fine. The defense could call it whatever it likes, but we will tell you this is sound science.
The judge ordered everyone back in this courtroom on March 12th to set a Fry hearing date. That is a hearing to determine the admissibility of that DNA evidence. Heuermann, meanwhile, has always contended he is innocent, and his attorney said today that he looks forward to his day in court. And notably, he will not be seeking a change of venue, which had been discussed at the beginning of the case. The attorney says that he believes the people of Suffolk County know this case best and know the Suffolk County Police best. Reporting from Riverhead, Long Island, Carolyn Gussoff, CBS News, New York. Chris?
Wow. Well, I wonder how that's going to progress. You know, I'm curious to see how they end up ruling on this stuff with his case. And they even wanted to break up the cases, and the district attorney was like, that this is a serial killer case. They need to all be combined as a serial killer.
Yeah, combine it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree too. I do it all separately as if, you know, he wasn't a serial killer. It's like, come on. Unless we start now saying, oh, they got to get rid of that DNA over there in the Rex Horman case. Like, y'all let that guy go again. Yeah, let him go over some, you know, science. Miss me with that snow is puffy cloud of protection stuff. What are you talking about? Are y'all fighting over Karen Reed in the chat? She worth it? Is that old girl ain't worth it to me.
I'm sitting
I
here
don't know
Googling,
her.
looking for some more details, and yeah.
Yeah, I was just bringing y'all a case update about what happened in court yesterday. I wasn't trying to try the case right here on the YouTube today. Y'all, I'm lighting my smudge, by the way. If y'all heard my lighter clicking, I mean, get out. Sage is a good thing, especially before I move into Idaho.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. Yes, Rex is a monster, isn't he, Pokemon? That guy, unbelievable. We did a deep dive on him in that members only live that I did. Snow is puffy and fluffy though. I'm from Florida, so I don't know how it is for you guys, but when it snowed here for 2 days straight, it was nice and soft and playful. We just had a ball in it until we got too cold and had to come in. List case is massive. There's still more coming out with that. So and y'all don't argue in chat now. If y'all talk amongst yourselves, but be nice to one another. There's no reason to. That's the problem with these cases. Everybody wants to get mad and dig in and say, well, you're wrong and you're an idiot and you're this and you're that. I can't. I won't. We can agree to disagree and it's all good. All golden. All right, so let me. I mean, y'all know that. I hope y'all know that. Was it that like soft snow on the ground or was it all thick ice? Snowplow dude come along, so it couldn't have been too icy. But there was a blizzard and all. First of all, let me ask you people who live up there around that kind of stuff, are you going to go drinking during a blizzard and driving around? I got a problem with drinking. Right, I got a problem with drinking and driving, period. I don't think anybody should do it. I don't give a shit if you're Karen Reed, her boyfriend cop, the boy next door. I have a problem with people drinking and driving, flat out across the board. But when this case popped off and they were like, oh, it was a blizzard that night and all this stuff and everybody was drinking, I'm like, damn, a bunch of cops out drinking and driving during a blizzard. And it wasn't just Reed, it was the people at the bar too. They all left and went back to the house to finish partying. So you got a bunch of drinking and driving law enforcement over there in Canton. Let them hit me or one of my babies. You let them do it. That's what I always say about a drunk driver. If you roll up on me and hit me in my car, you better hope the law gets here quick because I'm going to jail. All there is to that. Okay, so that was it on the Rex Horman update. We'll watch this real quick, and then I'm going to go look at the case summary, and we'll start talking about what these documents could mean that will be coming down.
And no updates on the website yet.
Nothing yet? All right. I still wanted to go over the case summary with them and let them know what documents we're waiting on to drop. All right, let's watch this little piece here. And they're going to be referring to the filings that we do know that have dropped. So let's take a look at this.
Now to the Idaho College murders and Brian Kohberger's alibi. Prosecutors now trying to limit what the defense team can argue at trial. Kana Whitworth is tracking the case. Good morning, Kana.
Yeah, George. Good morning to you. So the prosecution wants to limit any alibi claims of solo stargazing to words from the defendant himself. They also want to restrict evidence suggesting someone else is responsible, and they want to exclude Brian Kohberger's mental health evaluations.
This morning, a new legal battle brewing over accused killer Brian Kohberger's alibi. In a new filing, the prosecution arguing the judge should limit the evidence Kohberger's attorneys can present to support his alibi for the November 2022 murders of Kaylee Gonzalez, Madison Mogan, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin. Kohberger's attorneys, who say their client is innocent, have alleged that he was driving alone, stargazing, the night 4 University of Idaho students were stabbed to death in an off-campus home. But as the August trial approaches, prosecutors are asking a judge to bar Kohberger's defense team from offering any evidence beyond Kohberger's own words to support that claim, saying the defense has had 20 months to provide material to back it up and has not.
The defense is making the argument that Brian Kohberger was out for a drive in no specific area or place, and that's his alibi. And they presented no witness to be able to testify to that. So the prosecution is arguing that if the defense does raise any argument about alibi, that it would have to come from Brian Kohberger and no other source.
The prosecution also requesting to ban the defense team from offering any psychiatric evaluations and evidence. This after Kohberger's defense team filed under seal a motion to strike the death penalty on account of autism spectrum disorder. Prosecutors also asking the court to bar references to alternative culprits unless they have evidence specifically connecting them to the homicides.
Now, lead defense attorney Ann Taylor had argued unsuccessfully in the past that other male DNA profiles at the crime scene were not properly investigated. Also, prosecutors alerting the court that during the trial they plan to use this. It's a 3D model of the King Road house that was demolished. And a reminder, guys, this trial is still slated to start in August.
I saw somebody say, oh, look, they're going to use a cute little dollhouse in the Idaho photos. I'm like, do y'all not?
You and I were thinking the same thing at the same
Did you?
time.
Right, I know you know, then you know, right? If you know, you know. And I was like, man, I could direct you to some stuff to watch, you know, to open your eyes there. But okay, you do you, hun. Let me see what chat's saying. Guilty or not, I find it poor form. Well, when you see what the defense is trying to file, you may understand why they're filing some of what they have filed. So from what there seems to be some people on Twitter who have more information than we have right now, and I don't like that.
Oh.
Like, yeah, it's like Kohberger was recently diagnosed with autism. If that's a recent diagnosis, I got a problem with that. What are we saying here? Did that cause you to go driving around because you couldn't sleep? Okay. Or did it cause you to walk into a house and murder 4 people? And now we got to let you, you know, when does that, how's that going to play an effect? You know what I mean? Coming into this case, let me, I'm not calling out no names, Infinity. I
But
know.
if you come to your own conclusions, you know.
Yeah, exactly. And here's another thing. You know, there's a document on the case summary about keeping the family member to do with family in the courtroom, and I got a problem with that. And anybody who thinks that people are laughing and joking and making fun of it, saying things like, well, it serves them right, by the hands of somebody in that house? No. So what do you get to come out here and laugh at them and make fun of them and say, we hope they keep them out of the courtroom, as if that's going to change the jury's mind? Well, nobody's here to support these victims. Guess this dude is innocent. That, to me, that is a ridiculous argument to even make. I got mad over there in Stefan Stearns, and he's over trying to do the same shit. He's trying to pull the same stunts. We can't come in and say the word murder. We can't come in and bring in the victims, talk about the, I mean, that's getting like, come on. Is that all y'all got to defend your client with? Is that really all you got? That we can't come in and talk about certain things or say certain words, like that's going to prejudice the jury, not that evidence against your client? That ain't got nothing to do with it. It's like I can't even. Hang on, I'm trying to get to the case summary page. I passed it up.
Oh, okay.
I have to go a little bit slower that time. Okay. Get on up there. Damn, this case stock is so long, isn't it?
Yeah, Pokemon, the defense team could use that diagnosis. Yeah, it's not for his defense, it's for the mitigation. They're trying to
Yeah.
basically say, okay, in Idaho, you can't use mental illness or insanity as a plea or as an excuse or whatever. But so they're trying to say, he has a mental illness, and in Idaho, you can't, enact the death penalty on somebody who has a mental illness. So
Right.
it would, cause him to, like, I don't know, just get life if they convict him.
Yeah, it would have to be used in the mitigation part and not the, hang on, let me get, okay, so that's where that was at. We saw, okay, let me pull the screen up. Yeah, the vague expert. I wonder, Frank and I were wondering who the vague expert would have been in this case. What, was it Vargas? Was it Cyray? What are we doing here? We haven't seen the witness list yet, so we don't know. Let me get the case summary page pulled up so you guys can
Vague
see.
expert. It depends on whose motion that was. I don't remember.
I can't. Yeah, we'll look through the ones that were filed here. Okay, so we do know, the state filed their motion in limine about the alternative perpetrator evidence, the neuropsychological and psychiatric
Wait, hold on a second.
evidence.
Scroll back up to the previous
What?
page.
This is where I was at. This is the last thing was the transcript that was filed right there.
Oh, okay.
That dropped. And then this was the motions in limine that were filed by the state. And then the motion in limine admissibility of demonstrative exhibits, and we saw what that looked like. A motion to exceed the page limit, granting the page limit, and then a motion in limine for this, the state's investigative genetic genealogy, and then subject document to redact or seal newly filed records, motion in limine, and it refers to the 911 call.
Hold on a second. Pause for a second. So you notice some of these have states in parentheses, and then some don't. And I was actually wondering, is that, I don't know, laziness, typos, whatever, or for me it looked like
the defense filing?
Yeah. For me it looked like maybe the top, so many documents are states, and then as you go down, it looks like these others, lower would be defense.
Well, this one in between here, the motion to redact and seal the filed record, motion in limine on the 911 call, it doesn't say state or anything, and it's in between two that does have state in parentheses.
I kind of think it's the state that's trying to exclude the 911 call.
And I don't know why that would need to be excluded. What was said on the 911 call?
In that 911 call, I think.
Very messy. Yeah, very messy 911 call. And a lot of, we don't know what the hell's going on. I don't know. Of course, we'd all wanted to hear it, but it's not been leaked or anything like that, so we don't. And then I'm not sure where Joe is. This morning, he wasn't feeling up to a live, I don't think, because he was supposed to go live this morning, Pokemon. So I don't know where he's at right now, if he's resting or what he's doing. That motion in limine. Immediate, this is RE, so this one doesn't sell, it says state in parentheses, but why would the state want to? It says immediate family members in courtroom, and maybe it's and then in the courtroom. I know what I know, hun, I know what all that means. I know. They're going to drop the documents into the docket, and you'll be able to read, but a lot of it will be still not public, Guys, I've been looking at this damn thing for 2.5 years. So yeah, there's that. And so has Dolphin, where we are not new to the Brian Koberger case. Let me
God,
just
no.
put that out there. We may be, I've been streaming about 8 months, 9 months maybe. Only did a couple of Koberger streams because in the beginning I didn't want to do Koberger, right? There was nothing going on but a bunch of drama and rumors, and I'm not a part of that stuff. So I'm only keeping things strictly to documents from now on. That's the way I decided to proceed with the case, especially going and doing lives. But Dolphin and I are nowhere near popped off, basically.
Oh, and I just want to say something too. What do you call it? Because I saw this somewhere yesterday when I was doing some research, but a motion in limine is not just to exclude something. It could also be to include something that the defense might object to, or, the other
Right.
side might object to.
Exactly.
So it's not
And
always
if
an
we need to take
exclusion.
right, and you are right, and we probably need to pull that up for everyone to see and understand what, because not everyone understands what a motion in limine is, or what any of the, no one. There was somebody in I believe it was Mada's chat the other day saying, "What's a Franks? What's a Franks?" People didn't even know what the Franks motion, hearing was about. Things like Dauber hearings, all these things that we don't know. I'm all down with going to look them up and show you guys what they mean. We do a lot of research over here. And we try to bring you guys the facts based out of what we do know in court documents and not what the YouTube streets are telling you. Because I'm telling you, the YouTube streets be lying to y'all. Period. YouTube streets are not trustworthy. Like, I don't even like to play in the YouTube streets. Because literally the same person can read the same document I'm reading, and they're going to go out and say the exact opposite of what I'm going to sit here and say. So everybody's going to have that difference, right? And like we said, they were already making fun of the family members, saying, "Oh, I hope they do keep them out." Like, why would you say that? Who cares? That's not going to matter. And I think it's a slap in the family's face to say, "You know what? We don't want you in the courtroom." Like, that's going to change the mind. Like, that's not going to be what the jury bases their decision on, because there's a family member sitting in there. Like, I think that's so ridiculous. All I can say is be thankful it's not your child, because you might have a different opinion if it was your child. So then this document to redact or seal the newly filed record on the immediate family members. Then the next one that they showed was filed, sealed states motion in limine, improper death penalty comments. I'm not calling people out. That's not what I do here as far as who said what. Just know that I saw it. Need some Z's. I saw it. I'm just saying, y'all be careful on these YouTube streets. I ain't about to try to get into no damn creator war with people. That is not my job. I don't care. Subject document motion to redact or seal newly filed record, seals the motion in limine, the state's motion in limine, referring to the text messages and testimony. That's going to be those text messages between Dylan and Bethany. There's no other text messages to worry about. Those are between Dylan and Bethany.
Sorry, I was looking at something.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
Mm-hmm.
And then the state's motion, so.
Donnie, are you kidding me? Yeah, that's crazy. Okay, motion in limine, AT&T timing advanced records. Then there was another filing, motion to seal the motion in limine on exhibits, self-authentication of records. What is that you think that even means? What is a self-authentication? Then a motion in limine, for inflammatory evidence, a motion in limine for vague and undisclosed expert testimony. Vague and, oh goodness. A motion in limine, use of term murder. We just saw that happening in the Stefan Stearns case. So we're going to walk into court now and use the term unalived? Are we there in society now? We can't just say murder or killed, or what would you say instead of murdered? Killed? unalived? I mean, seriously, are we two?
I mean, God, you could always say this, the person who's accused of taking this victim's life. I mean, there are all sorts of ways to
Right.
say, restate something. So that's
Right.
what synonyms
Exactly.
are, people.
Yeah.
It's like, good luck with
And
that.
just because we keep that one word out don't mean it won't be in the court. It'll be just worded differently. Um, if you guys haven't read it yet, no, I wasn't speaking to panel. What are you talking about? I have read what that means. We don't know if the rest of chat does. So if y'all don't, y'all can, like she said, you can look it up. But we will show you that in a few minutes. Oh, yeah, that's what you're talking about. Read it, what it means. Yeah. Yeah, deceased Pokemon. There's another word. But if you're talking, it depends on the context, This person is deceased because of a knife wound. This person was killed because of a knife wound. I'm going to walk in there and say killed. Unless the judge tells me I can't say all those words. Damn it with your words. Stefan Stern's bullshit. Okay. And going forward, we're going to see that in so many murder trials, right? Are you telling me to scroll up? I did. I saw what you said, honey. I see it now. She's letting you guys know where you can go look up the information. Okay. Motion in limine. Rylene Nolan and references to touch and contact. Now, Rylene works for the Idaho State Police. So any reference to touch and contact DNA. That's interesting, too. A motion in limine. Witness identification by bushy eyebrows. A motion in limine. Unnoticed 40B4 evidence. And these are all new that we're waiting that haven't been dropped yet. Truth, I'm not jumping your ass, hun. And if you feel that's what I'm doing, you don't have to be here. We're trying to explain stuff and you're just popping off in chat and I'm just trying to keep up with what you're saying. And if I take it out of context, that I miss one of your comments. I'm trying to scroll back up to see what exactly you were talking about, but there's no jumping asses over here. We're having a conversation like adults. I'm trying to follow what you're saying in chat, and it's a little, when I'm trying to read and then I'll look over it, I'm trying to keep up with what you're saying. Hopefully chat's keeping up with it,
One quick thing, that 404B evidence, unnoticed 404B evidence. Remember, there was another document for it a while back.
Mhm.
That's the traffic stop that we haven't seen. The
That's
seatbelt
right, because
ticket.
a seatbelt ticket. Unnoticed. What does that mean? So then we have a motion in limine excluding Amazon click activity evidence at trial. Okay, you exclude your click activity, but what I'm more interested in is your purchase history. Right? I don't care what you clicked on. I might click on a lot of shit I'm not going to buy, but I need to see what you purchased. That's what matters to me the most. A motion in limine improper expert opinion testimony, and it says middleman, not middleman, a middleman. Secondary, yeah. Well, they're not allowed to bring up the fact that he stole his sister's cell phone either. So they have a motion in limine to exclude the IGG, a motion in limine make and model of suspect vehicle car. Isn't that interesting? Motion in limine conditions as aggravator. This one is a motion to redeal, seal and redact files for the motion in limine, all that. Okay, this is the same thing. This one is a subject document motion to redact or seal newly filed record. Using the terms psychopath and sociopath. Well, those don't describe autism, do they? No. So I don't know what that's about yet either.
They don't want him, colored
Labeled
as a psychopath or sociopath.
You can't say
if
that's.
he doesn't
I
have
believe
an official, diagnosis. Yeah.
So the state can't turn around and say we think that psychopath. I think it was once in Washington, Donnie, once in Moscow, and then the two Indiana stops that we know of. Yeah, Dolphin, there you go. Throw them links and throw that knowledge in chat. Okay, so then this one is a subject document motion to redact and seal newly filed record, exhibits 1, 2, and 3 in support of the motions in limine, vague and undisclosed expert testimony. Then they, in order to seal and redact, exhibits. So this one goes with this one. So a motion to redact or seal newly filed record, exhibits in support of motion in limine, witness identification by bushy eyebrows. Apparently he was a terrible driver, Pokemon, because you give me, that's a lot of, you're pulling up in the traffic and not stopping at the red lights. Then the second August stop was over there that we haven't seen the body cam of yet, was a seatbelt infraction. And then the 2 Indiana stops allegedly were him following too closely to other vehicles. Like, dude just, did what he wanted to in the car. Like, my sister thinks she owns the road, so I don't ride with her. Like, legit, I make her let me drive. I'm like, bitch, you don't own the road. Stop it. She's like, oh, you're right. I think I do, don't I? I'm like, yeah, you do. You don't. So I'm driving. You sit on this. You sit over there and just be quiet. I'd like to live today. Mama always said, don't kill ourselves getting there, remember? May not like the outcome. Anyway. Motion to redact and seal. Motion to file defendant's motion in limine. So the defense is filing. I got to get this thing bigger so I can see the whole side of it. Here we go. Inconclusive data and motion in limine. Statistical analysts. This one is about inconclusive data. This next one is also for inconclusive data. Pokemon, I got one sister who's a lead foot and the other one thinks she owns the road. They're both dangerous. Our daddy was a race car driver, so I think I'm probably the safest of the 3, but I'm going to get there. I'm getting there. You know what I mean? That's what you get when you raise 3 girls and you drive race cars, right? I guess 4 girls technically. Redact and seal newly filed record stipulated agreement of both parties regarding investigators in the courtroom during trial. So they've agreed on something. They have an agreement of the parties regarding investigators in the courtroom.
Probably
so they don't want.
They won't be sitting there during the trial.
Yeah, well, you don't want you're not, because they did this in a couple of other cases where the investigator who's going to be testifying shouldn't be sitting in court listening to all the other testimony prior to their testimony being given. Like in the Vallow case, is that we're going to testify, but they needed to see that trial. So they actually worked it out where they could testify first, and then they were allowed to be a part of the trial ongoing, as sitting there witnessing the trial. So it made me wonder if it's something to do with that. We don't want the investigators who will be testifying, because it happened in Delphi. Those investigators were all in the courtroom for all the testimony and then called up on the stand to testify. So I'm thinking it's got something to do with that, like Dolphin said, keeping them out until their testimony comes in. Motion to redact or seal newly filed records. This is a motion to seal stipulated agreement and the order. This one is another one. Agreement of the parties not to mention the 2014 cell phone incident during trial. So I guess both parties have agreed they won't bring up the fact that he stole that iPhone from his sister.
Or that his dad called the police and whatnot.
Right. Which, that was back in 2014. We all know he was going through some major stuff back then, so I don't think stealing his cell phone's going to escalate to where I need to bring that in to show y'all this guy's done something, right? So, okay, I get it. They were sealing and redacting it there. A motion to file additional motions challenging the death penalty. Motion to exceed page limit again. How many times are you going to ask to exceed page limit to get your point across? This one is a motion to preclude the death penalty and adopt other necessary procedures due to the state's numerous disclosure violations. So, Lori Vallow, death penalty was removed from the table in Idaho because of prosecution sanctions because they failed to turn over evidence on time. Yeah. Exactly. And I've been saying that when people are like, "Oh, Idaho's not turning everything over." Blah, blah, blah. Well, I'm sure they're fully aware of what happened in the Lori Vallow case. So I hope they are. If they're not that smart, that's on them, not me, because I would be smarter than that and turn over whatever I got, exculpatory or not. If it's exculpatory, it's exculpatory. What are you going to do? But you can't not disclose things because that's a major no-no from both sides. And here we go. Motion to strike the death penalty, autism spectrum disorder. So, for a guy who was out riding around in the opposite direction and didn't do anything, makes all these curious filings to me. No, what happened 11 years ago, stealing the phone, is not relevant to what he possibly could have done 2 years ago. I agree. But I also wonder why you would, if you're just out driving around and it's that damn simple, cut and dry, and your experts can prove it due to cell phone data, then prove it. What's it got to do with autism? You're not allowed to drive because you got autism now?
Case.
Yeah, that's a just in case. Just in case. And when did they diagnose? According to the tweet I saw, I know Frank says he's gonna say the Big Dipper did it. I cracked up last night or this morning, whenever it was, when I realized what you were saying to me. Not trying to be funny, but it was funny to me at the moment. So according to Mercy Wright, in her tweet, and she is a defense attorney who really believes in Brian Kohberger, this is a new diagnosis. I'm like, where'd she get that from? How does she know that? We don't know that yet. Has he always had
I
autism?
don't think that's a new diagnosis.
It couldn't be, right? I mean, if it's brand new, that's really interesting to me, if it's a brand new diagnosis. Yeah, I know that's what they say they plan to do with the car and cell data needs some Z's. It's going to prove everything that, this guy was in the opposite direction. But everything she's filing, makes you wonder, how strong is that evidence about the cell and car data that, I know that YouTube streets would like me to believe that all that's garbage and that's not his car. And that cell phone data is wrong because they're a bunch of experts. We got to remember that. I'm not an expert in anything except knowing how to talk. And even then, I can't do it right. Okay. Redact or seal newly filed records. Defendant's motion to file defendant's exhibits in support of their motion to strike the death penalty under the autism spectrum disorder. This one is another one, I know Frank wants to call it double autism. This was Exhibit 1 and 2 in support of the motion to strike with autism spectrum. And then look here, we have March 27th. Our next was canceled. These are all canceled. So they still have, and those were all under Judge at the time. Their next court hearing right now is still set for April 9th, unless they do have, what was it? They set aside Thursdays in this case to do motion hearings as they need to, and that was set in court a couple months ago, right, Dolphin? So
I don't remember because I was kind of tied up
Yeah.
a few months ago.
Yeah, that's right. But they did come in court and talk about that, and they had set aside, I think it was Thursdays, to be able to hear motions that they knew were all going to be coming. We knew a lot of these motions would come. Some of them are a little unexpected, like the autism stuff. That's like, oh, really? What will they all mean moving forward in the case? And let's see. I don't think anything's come down. Let me get down to the bottom there, because I didn't read that last document with you guys on the channel, or when we did our live on it. Dolphin was telling me about it. So, order granting leave. Okay, here it is. Yeah. Let me get this up.
Oh, you're granting leave to exceed the page limit?
Yeah, this is the one that I didn't read. I just told them it was there.
Yeah.
So,
It is
and
a little
then you told me
handwritten
what,
note.
yeah, yeah, that was written on there. I was like, and I was
I
like, I
said
didn't even
Hitler
read the
is
darn.
such a troll. Instead
Yeah,
of
he
10,
is.
okay, 20, right?
Okay. So this one was, um, the court, this is a motion from the Koberger's defense to exceed, motion for leave to exceed page limit and good cause appearing there now, therefore. They wanted to exceed, it was a 10-page limit, I think, and they wanted to exceed that. So here here's what the document actually said. It is hereby ordered the defendant's motion in limine, that's the defendant's motion in limine, RE, improperly disclosed expert testimony. So they're talking about what a prosecution expert then. Motion in limine, Riley Nolan, yeah, that's her, in reference to touch contact. Why would you not want her to come in and talk about touch or contact if y'all are screaming out there that it was touch transfer DNA stuff? Well, then you can't bring in your expert to talk about touch and contact DNA if I can't bring mine in. That's what I'd say back. Motion in limine, witness identification, bushy eyebrows. Motion in limine, conditions as aggravator may exceed 10-page limit. And the judge wrote, what was that first word he wrote? Total pages may not exceed 20 pages per motion. Otherwise, and don't bring me another 100 and something pages where I got to tell you to bring it down, girl. Give me just the facts here. And so, yeah, he granted her. So Anne was granted that to get the 20 pages versus the 10. So people can't say he's not out there being unfair. I've heard that this judge is stupid. He doesn't understand the law. He didn't understand IGG. Like, what? Make that make sense, because I think he's been a judge for a really long time. People calling him stupid aren't judges. They're not law students. They aren't lawyers. So, stupid is as stupid does, as Forrest Gump's mama would say. I'm looking. There is something wrong with exceeding the page limit if you don't get permission from the judge. Yeah, they asked for the, look, they asked for it. It's right here. That was the order granting it. And this is the order asking for it. Sorry, guys. Didn't mean to cough on you like that. Okay. So, motion for leave to exceed the page limit comes now. Brian Koberger, by and through his attorney of record, and hereby request the court for an order to allow the defense to exceed the 10-page limit for their motion in limine. Improperly disclosed expert testimony, and then they go on to talk about them again. So yeah, they asked for it and then they received it. He understands and has ADD and turns emotion into a small novel. Does she have ADD? I don't know. She's doing her job. I don't know. I think people come to a lot of conclusions that don't make any sense sometimes, and we're like, yeah. YouTube itself, the YouTube taught lawyers know everything. The judge doesn't. Just ask them. I know, right? It's so true. Like, I'm not a law professor, and I'm not a lawyer, and I'm not a judge. And it just surprised me that people were going so hard and laughing when they were reading the document about trying to keep the parents out or family members out or whichever. And are they only going to bring up the autism when they get to mitigation? Do you know, it's just like, what's going on here anymore? What's a joke, hun? The whole case, or just the motions to leave? There's a bunch of what I call their paper in the court to death with motions. Are they just motions to be motions, or are we actually got, some real stuff here we need to get done? I've heard that attorneys can use, I've heard of an attorney who got thrown off the case because, quote unquote, their words papered the court to death. And that's from a YouTube attorney right here on YouTube.
Oh, check your back chat really quick.
I will do that. The ADD thing, what about it? Let me see. Let me pull that up. No, don't want to leave. Cancel. About ended the stream, everybody. Okay, let me try this. I can't get it to bring up. Dolphin, can you bring that up and we'll show it on screen?
Oh yeah, let me go back to it. Let's see.
I'm trying to pull it up and I don't know how to do that yet on this platform. I got to figure this out. Yeah, I know what normal filings are and what normal filings aren't, hun. Y'all trying to educate me over here in the chat. I appreciate it. A lot of it is normal, but I'm just saying that there's just some interesting stuff being filed. Oops. Okay. Dolphin looked up this information for us. I can't read it. Let me see.
I made it a little bit larger. Is it large enough now?
No. Almost. This is a motion in limine, a motion in which a party asks the court to exclude, limit, or include evidence before it is offered at trial. The court decides the motion outside the presence of a jury. Typically, a motion in limine, Latin for at the start or on the threshold, the party seeks to exclude prejudicial or irrelevant evidence from the jury trial. However, a party also may use a motion in limine to obtain an advanced ruling on whether the court will admit. Well, that's a little too much, and I lost where I was
Okay,
at.
sorry.
Okay. I'm like I'm super leaned into my computer screen, and I got a pretty big screen, but I was like, okay. However, a party may also use a motion in limine to obtain an advanced ruling on whether the court will admit specified evidence at trial. Rulings on motions in limine are interlocutory, which means they're not final, and the court may change its ruling during trial. Interesting. So there you guys have that. About what a motion in limine is. Where's my chat box? Where'd my chat? Where'd it go? Dolphin, if you pull up the online law dictionary site, it tells the difference between expert, medical, those kinds of motions. We understand. We're trying to get the gist of what a motion in limine is for those who don't know what a motion in limine is. Because there's a lot of people new to, this is the first, people may have watched true crime and, hung out in chats and did all the things, but this will be the first case they follow beginning to end. And this is the first time a lot of people have even seen a document, period. Like when that PCA come out, make it make sense. Why is it this? Why is it that? What's this document mean? What's that word mean? All these things. It let me know real fast, people have never been reading documents, right, before this case. So they may not know what a lot of the terms mean. It tells she can't drop it in link. Or drop it in link, drop it in chat. Law dictionary, let me see here.
Lawdictionary.com?
I believe that's what she said. Let's see. Law dictionary. So it just says online law dictionary. I mean, I've heard Bob Mata explain it, and I've heard Lawyer explain it, because I do watch, and Emily Baker, I do watch attorneys that I feel are competent. Let me put it that way. That I do go and review for to get their take on things. Let me see. I imagine that the prosecution's not want to have isn't going to want the autism stuff in, and then the defense will. All right, you got legal dictionary and you got the law dictionary. I mean, they're all going to be kind of the one and the same, right? You got to refill your coffee. I do too, Pokemon. I'm like, I got one good sip left and I surely need another cup. Let's see, do it this way. So yeah, motion in limine is to keep in or keep out certain evidence, guys. Let me. According to Black's Law Dictionary, a motion in limine is a pretrial request to exclude specific evidence, like she explained earlier. The term in limine, well, to prevent prejudicial, information from influencing the jury. Let's see if we can get a in limine, the Law Dictionary. I watched The Real Lawyers, and there's one that never has a dog in the hunt. I mean, you can't get any more fair and balanced than Lawyer You Know, because he's not out here doing YouTube lives for hours talking about a case. He literally will present what was done in court. Well, you have your right to feel that way, Leah. I mean, without going to court, you can 100% guarantee that, huh? I can't with anybody until we get to court. Your dolphin typing away, but is she getting busy?
Sorry. I thought
No,
I
you're
was
good.
muted. Sorry.
You're good.
Yeah, no, I just for truth exposed, I just was like, can you just type the .com or whatever? Because going back and forth over and over, just saying legal dictionary, motion in limine, a lot of different
Yeah.
things come up when you Google search that. So I just wanted to know
Yeah.
the URL. And I mean, the bottom line for showing this term is just to, prove to people that it's not only used to exclude something.
Right.
I mean, breaking it down to medical and whatever, that's like a whole different, that's not even what we were talking about. Well, what I was talking about. So,
Exactly.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
mean, if you don't want to type the link, because I also said just type it with, paste it without the https:// or whatever.
Yeah.
You could do that
Truth,
really
when you do it
quick.
that way,
Put a space
just
in
type
front
it
of
in.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
To see if
Just
chat
type
would
it in
accept
chat. What?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Type the website in chat, and then she'll pull it up, and we'll take a look at what you're trying to get us to look at.
But
We don't mind looking at it.
I just don't
We
feel
just
like
need to know where
going
to find
back
it.
and forth for like
Yeah,
5-10
because
minutes.
when you look it up, there's literally all kinds of legal dictionaries. There's way more than one. So that's the problem here. And they all basically, the ones I looked at all basically say the same thing. Like we were talking about, is either to keep in or exclude evidence. That's what basically it comes down to. Now, what evidence will they be trying to include and exclude? We don't know until these documents really dropped. One pretend lawyer last night didn't know this. I try not to watch pretend lawyers. I don't try not to. I don't. Like, was it a legit lawyer you're calling a pretend lawyer? I don't know. But I do encourage people to go look at what attorneys have to say. And there's attorneys on both sides of this fence as well. I know defense attorneys that believe they have a pretty strong case in this case. And then I know a couple of defense attorneys are like, nah, they don't. So, can you see that? Yeah, different state to state. Truth, we can't see anything yet.
Maybe put a couple of spaces in front of it and then paste it. I don't know how YouTube is stripping things out of chat or whatever, but I mean,
Yeah,
put a space in between the dot and the com or whatever. I mean, so the chat doesn't recognize it as a website.
Yeah, that would work. So I think Dolphin and I have a pretty clear understanding of what this motion in limine is, and I think we've tried to explain it the best we can. Did nobody said that we didn't say they were trying to use the loony defense. I haven't even used that term.
Who said
And
that?
OCD behavior. Oh, I know people are saying because of his autism, that's why he was wearing the gloves. He has OCD. But if you look at all the car cams or body cameras where he was pulled over, we have 3 of those out there. Dude's not wearing any gloves. Like, is he only OCD in the house? Or when
Oh, sorry, I'm still typing off of this. Uh-huh.
you're good. Oh, look, Forrest found you a link.
Yeah.
But lawdictionary.org. Truth, is that it? Did Forrest find it for you? YouTube recognizes when you try to enter a website. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, exactly, Pokemon. There's so many, they're all going to give us the same legal basis no matter what we look at. Let's see. I can't click on that. Oh, if I go over here, I might can. The Law Dictionary, your trusted legal dictionary and business information resource.
Yeah, I found it. I was actually, thank you. I was already on that site.
Okay,
Do
let
you want
me
me
get
to
you
pull
back
it
up
up?
here. Yep. Yep,
Let's
let me
see.
get you up here.
Let me move it over to this other monitor. Share this tab instead.
All right, guys, she's found something. Hey, Jeff, welcome in.
Hey, Jeff.
He was gloved while cleaning and shopping. Dude, where did you see that at? Was he cleaning up in the middle of the night when in Pennsylvania? Shopping. Did he wear plastic gloves when he went shopping? How do you know that, Leah? Because Koberger hasn't his car. He didn't need to wear them until he got out of the car and went into the store. Is that right for shopping? Yeah, I don't know why we're looking so hard for it. We were told to do it. We were asked to do it. All right, Dolphin. I'm gonna go run grab a cup of coffee refill real quick.
Oh, is it on the screen?
Yes,
Okay.
this 11 types of legal motions in
Right.
the US.
Yep.
Is that what you're looking at? And I'm having a hard time reading it. Do you want to start reading?
Yeah, I can make it bigger. I think, what was it, like
And
200%?
I'm gonna
Is
go
what I
run
did?
grab a cup of coffee real quick. It won't take but a second. I'll be right back.
Okay, let me see
All right,
if
she
this,
pulled this up for us guys to look at. Hold on.
did it change the size? Is that large enough for you guys to see now? Oh, there we go. It's slowly moving up. Okay. So, Truth Exposed, is this the right site? This site is the lawdictionary.org. And I just went to the search box, typed in motion in limine, and then it said 11 types of legal motions in the U.S. law. And then there's like this list of different types of motions. Is this the right domain? The lawdictionary.org? Just give me a yes or a no. Are you on a phone or are you on a computer? Can you see the URL? Okay, sorry, I just was looking out my window. I heard a couple of dogs barking. Anyway, you guys can still hear me? Can somebody just like type a 1 in chat if you can still hear me? And I'll go
I
ahead
can
and
hear you,
you
Dolphin. I
can?
just got
Okay,
back.
great.
I can.
Yeah, so like I was saying, I went to the lawdictionary.org, typed in motion in limine, and it came up with this. There was a link that said 11 types of legal motions in U.S. law. Then when you scroll down, you've got motion to dismiss, discovery motions, motion to compel, motion to strike. Oh, Salty Truth said that they emailed you.
Okay.
Thanks. Motion for summary judgment, motion for a directed verdict, motion for nolle prosequi, uh, motion in limine, motion for judgment, NOV, motion to set aside judgment, motion for a new trial. So yeah, these are the 11 different types of judgment. So here I stop at motion in limine. It says a motion in limine concerns what evidence can and cannot be presented to a jury in court. Instead of risking a jury being exposed to prejudicial evidence that may later be found to be inadmissible, a motion in limine ensures that such evidence is not presented to the jury in the first place. A motion in limine helps ensure that a defendant receives a fair trial, which is less assured if the jury is simply told to disregard evidence that it has already been exposed to. For example, in a criminal trial, the prosecution may mention a defendant's previous conviction for an offense that has nothing to do with the offense currently being tried. While the defense may argue that mentioning previous conviction should not be allowed because it is not relevant to the current case, the jury will nonetheless have already been told that such a conviction exists, even if the judge sustains the objection and instructs the jury to disregard the information. A motion in limine ensures that that information is not presented to the jury in the first place. If either party violates the motion in limine, then a mistrial may be declared. And then it says there are 3 types of motions in limine: inclusionary, exclusionary, and preclusionary. As their name suggests, when an inclusionary motion in limine is being made, then the party is asking the court that certain evidence be specifically included in the trial. An exclusionary motion in limine, meanwhile, asks that information be excluded and kept from the jury, such as a defendant's previous conviction, as discussed above. Finally, a preclusionary motion in limine can preclude potentially inadmissible evidence from being included. So, now that we see this, I think that this is actually a really good site because it went into further detail and told you,
Yeah.
hey, there's 3 different types. These are instances. You've got examples. Exclusionary, like the example of his previous conviction or whatever. It wasn't really a conviction, but the phone incident in 2014 where he stole his sister's phone and his father called the police on him, and then I don't know, he had to do something for it, and then didn't they like expunge his record or seal it or whatever?
Yeah, I believe it was.
Something.
Uh-huh.
So yeah. Um,
Yeah. And I got that site pulled up, Truth, and really, as I'm looking through it, everything Dolphin was just reading is basically in the same thing that you sent me.
oh, link it to me backstage. I want to see it.
Let me see here. Let me copy here.
Or you can put it in Discord to me. Yeah.
Let me pull up my
Was
thing
it
here
the
on my
same
phone.
website, the lawdictionary.org?
It came from, let's see.
Oh, okay.
Legaldictionary.net/motion in limine. I'll show you guys. I'll bring it up. I got it ready to present. Let me get back here. Because this is the one that she particularly wanted us to take a look at, so we will do that. But I think it says this pretty much the same things that Dolphin just read off. Okay. So It's, like I said, legal dictionary, a bunch of stupid ads. The Latin term in limine, I'm not going to read what the damn term means. We're not doing that. Motion made at the start, or we read that. Okay, let's go here. The purpose for it in many court cases, there is information which, if heard by the jury, might unjustly prejudice the jury against the defendant. Once this type of information is heard by the jury, it cannot be unheard. So it's important for the party who might be harmed by such information to ensure it is kept from the jury. A motion in limine is usually filed before a jury is even selected, though it may be filed just before a jury is seated at trial. Motion in limine generally questions the admissibility of certain evidence. They may also question the qualifications of an expert witness. The purpose of a motion in limine is to determine whether certain items of evidence are relevant or irrelevant, or unfairly prejudicial. Evidence that the judge determines as inadmissible must not make its way by means to the jury. So, saying he had bushy eyebrows is all going to hurt the case that bad. Description of the car. I understand why these motions are what they are, but some of these are just not going to, they're not going to make it, and they're not going to cut it. Motion in limine regarding evidence, relevant evidence. Some of that stuff's not going to prejudice the jury. If I'm a juror, the actual evidence presented showing me this guy did or did something is really what's going to make me make a decision. Not, and plus both experts telling me certain things, I'm going to go with the one that appears to be more knowledgeable. That's the one I'm going to end up going with, and it explains it better to me, what you're talking about. So, motion in limine regarding evidence. Relevant evidence is that which tends to prove an important fact of the case. While it would seem that any evidence that has to do with any issue mislead the jury or create unfair prejudice. And remember that the state's not the only ones filing motion in limines right now. So is the defense. So if I feel like a lot of people are feeling like it's the state doing all this, wanting all this kept out because it's exculpatory, and that's not the case. That's not what's happening. Motion in limine to avoid disruptions at trial. Yeah, I'm not going to read this whole darn thing. She just read all pretty much the same stuff on how it works and what it means. Yeah, I know it got into the expert. We know, hun. I think most of us get the gist of it now. But remember, it's not just the prosecution filing motion in limines. It's also the defense as well. So both sides are wanting to include or exclude certain pieces of things. Are we all clear on that now? We all good to go? I think it's, I'm not going to base my decision on whether this guy's innocent or guilty based on a motion filed by either side. I think it's dangerous if we start doing that. And who's listening to us anyway, besides true crime people? Ann Taylor? It's, I don't know. I think a lot of us like to discuss crimes, and it's getting harder to openly discuss them and weigh in our feelings about things without being, you're a pro-burger, or what do you call people who aren't pro-burgers? Because I don't call people that name. I'm not too,
I don't
and I don't call people pro-burgers. I'm like, okay, they support the co-burger defense. Okay, that's great. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't know what you call the ones that are not. State's motion in limine, neuropsychological and psychiatric evidence. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Since Truth Exposed was talking, I guess, specifically about expert witnesses or whatever, there's an example of one that's already out there from, what was it,
And we went over that document.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We did go over that document. We do go over all the documents here. We don't hear something on the YouTube streets and then go live with it. That's not how we operate. We literally get these dockets and try to look them up and try to make sense of them, as best we can with what little bit the damn documents do have. But this judge said, in not this last hearing, but when they first went before this judge, because Anne's great about coming in and saying, well, I want this unsealed. But yet there's certain things she's good to go with keeping sealed. And the judge said that he thought they were being all sides were being a little aggressive with what they want sealed. Some of the stuff that they had asked to be sealed doesn't need to be sealed, and I think I can agree with that. That's a lot of the talk about this case is, oh, there's this big secret, there's a gag order. Gag orders aren't new to court trials, pre-trial. They're just not. None of this stuff is new. Not even IgG being used to capture criminals or point in the direction of a suspect you might want to look into. None of that's new. It's all been around for a long, long time. It's just some of it's being talked about more now because people want to dig in so hard on this case, and I'm not. It's icky when we dig in that hard to a side at this point.
Yeah, I don't know. I cannot wait to see these documents because there's some things on here that are making me, want to give the defense some side eye, like the motion in limine to exclude the Amazon click activity evidence at trial.
Right.
Like, if your client is innocent, what difference do his clicks on Amazon make, right?
Yeah. What do those clicks show, right? What was he clicking on? Sleep meds?
Clearly, he didn't use those.
Gummy bears? Sleep gummies? No, stay awake for 24 hours. It was, what was going on there? So when the defense files to keep, people say, well, the state's wanting this kept out because it's exculpatory. Well, the defense is wanting damaging evidence against their client also kept out. So that kind of runs both ways there. Like you said, you side eye them, right? And I can't wait for them to come down either. And they're not yet. I just checked again.
I know.
And
I've been keeping the tab up and I just keep going to it and refreshing. If you just stay in that section towards the bottom where the last document is and then just hit refresh, it'll,
that's what I've been doing. Yeah. I've been doing that since like 4:00 this morning. It's like, where are they at? Where are they at?
I woke up at 7 something and I'm like, oh, grab my phone and refresh. Oh no, hadn't even gotten out of bed.
That's how hardcore we are on some documents, man.
Yeah.
We don't even get out of the bed yet. We're already looking. Did they drop? And I know there's going to be a bunch of different takes on them. But it's like, can you just read the document? And then have your discussion about it. But
oh, I was going to ask you too about the 3D model, right?
Yeah.
So.
Do
you think that they are actually going to have Pharaoh scanning of the crime scene in the court? Is that what they actually used? Their.
I don't know. You would think so, since I would think so because they did bring,
right?
They brought all that equipment. Yeah, they went back. They went in the first time, and then everything got boarded up, and then they go back after. Because remember, the trial was pushed back. Once the trial was pushed back to a later date, they unboarded that house and went right back in with their Pharaoh scans. And so, will that all come into court? I would hope so, because you and I have seen what they're capable of doing.
I found some
deep dove
other ones last night that I hadn't seen before that weren't, I don't know, as gory as that barbershop one, but
right.
Yeah, and I was just like, please tell me that that's what they actually were trying to do.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand the 3D model, and that's good for something, but I just was like, I thought they were gonna have something a little more immersive. But I'm not running out here calling them stupid and whatever over it. I just,
no, this is like something that I just grabbed. Let me see what it says. You can try to find a good video for everybody to watch on those Pharaoh scans like you and I have seen. So this is a summary using 3D scans and modeling as evidence in court. And this is back in
Accept your
2023, so things
cookies.
have changed.
So that box will go away.
Do what?
Accept your cookies.
Oh.
And X out
I
of
don't
that.
want to accept no cookies. Get out of here. Okay. When pictures and video aren't enough, 3D modeling can show what really happened in a case. 3D modeling or video forensic evidence involves using video to recreate the scene of a crime, accident, or incident to determine what happened. 3D models based on Faro scans are the ideal way to accurately visualize crime scenes for investigators and juries alike. No other method combines precision, immersion, and interactivity into the holistic investigatory tool. Whoops. An attorney recently came to me with a dilemma of an interesting challenge. His client had been driving when another car turned in front of him and hit the client's car. Although there was a dash cam video of the accident, it didn't definitely show who was at fault. Our client got injured and had medical bills to pay and had to fix his car on top of all of this. He knew it wasn't his fault. So why was this responsibility now on his shoulders? It wasn't fair, and he wanted to clear his name and his insurance and show the other driver was in the wrong. I evaluated the footage the client provided. He wanted to know, was the other driver already over the line when the light turned yellow or red? Or was he behind the line? Good Lord. Although you couldn't directly see whether the other car was at the light at a time the light turned red, I recognized I had enough forensic evidence to create a 3D model of the moments leading up to the accident and to learn what I needed from that. And it goes into telling you what is 3D modeling. Essentially, 3D modeling for video forensic evidence includes using video to recreate the scene, which we read that. Why 3D models are superior. Traditional methods of documenting crime scenes primarily relied on photographs and videos, but the integration of Faro scans and 3D crime scene reconstructions has ushered in a new era of forensic science. 3D models based on Faro scans are the ideal way to accurately visualize crime scenes for investigators and the juries. We read that a second ago. This is all about Faro scans. Even if he's schizophrenic, man, take your meds. Don't go doing horrible things to people.
I put something in back chat. That's the little 1 minute crime scene, Faro scanning, and it's not gory. So it'll show everyone here like what I guess a lot of us were thinking was going to happen. Hopefully it'll still be a part of the case, but the trial.
Okay, let me see if I can get that to show for us here on my end. I'm trying. Get in there. Let me paste it right there. Okay. Let me pull this screen up for you guys. Thank you, Dolphin.
You're welcome.
All right, we'll take a look at this, guys. Faro Focus S350 crime scene site exploitation. All right, everybody can see that really good? All right, let me pull the chat up while it's playing. All right. I don't know if this has sound yet or not, guys, so. So this would be a 3D model here, huh? And they're taking you inside of what it would look like with the Faro scans. Everything in the exact position of where it was, including the bodies. And they can take the photographs from the crime scene and incorporate those and use that into their Faro scans, placing them right where they were. right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Um, you don't think his mental stuff is going to cut him any slack. I don't think it's going to do that either. Like Dolphin said, mitigation purposes to avoid if found guilty, right? They will bring that stuff in during mitigation to try to get that death penalty off the table, or at least get it lessened. Um, Down to let me see something. Okay, I wanted. Okay, here we go. Let's see what this one shows us. I wanted something more up to date. This one's from a year ago. Okay, I don't know what, let me see what this is. All right, let me get the screen up. Faro 3D laser scanner for industrial manufacturing unit scanning. Now, I don't know what they're going to show us here, but we'll take a look at this. We do know they did come in back into that house and use those Faro scanners. So let's see. It ain't showing us shit, is it? It showed us a
Okay.
fancy machine. It showed us a fancy machine, people.
Mm-hmm.
Um, uh, you were all leaps and bounds ahead of me on this case. I'm mostly listening Pokemon. But there's a lot they can do, and I'm going to look up some. We'll look up some stuff that we can present to you guys and take a look at what they actually can do. I got to end the stream here in a few minutes, because I got a couple things to do before this afternoon. When my grandbaby gets home, he's that little child. I tell you what, they can do so much, exactly, and I think people are going to be surprised at how much they can do and what all they can show with that, with those scanners. They aren't going to show what they aren't going to show us. Yeah. Ooh, ultrasounds. Haven't had one of them in years. But yeah, so Jeff, I did notice your comment about making that thumbnail for 12 gauge. I wasn't ignoring you. Yes, it's pretty cool. So yeah, the documents aren't down yet. We can't read them. If they drop by the end of the day, I'll come live in the morning and we'll do a read through of the documents and discuss what they could or couldn't mean, and try to do it without everybody going after each other. Let's all, because y'all are pretty respectful though, even if you disagree. And I think the ones that come in hard and try to tell us something and haven't never seen before, they usually just leave. Like, I don't know, what are you doing? People will troll YouTube and see there's a live going on. They're discussing Koberger and they want to come in just to see if we're talking about it the right way. Forensic radiology has come so far in the last 15. It really has. And like you said, we did deep dive the Pharaoh scans, and Dolphin and I saw a really excellent video. We need to find that video, Dolphin. So that's what
Can
I
you
know.
show that on
That's
this?
I don't know. I'm gonna see what I can find that we can present, because it showed a pretty gory crime scene, the one that she and I watched together when we were first learning about this stuff months ago, like a long time ago, right? When they first started when the house was being destroyed, and everybody was up in arms over the house being destroyed and all that good stuff. I got to a point where I'm like, well, if Ann doesn't care, I'm not going to care. You know, if she really wanted that house to be left up, she would have fought to keep it up. She's the one that preserved that crime scene. She preserved the house. When her order expired in February of 2023, she did not file to do it again. She's like, okay, done. I got all my evidence out of the house that I need. Y'all do what you want with it. And so when it came time to do all that, Ann never fought that one time to have that house torn down, and she could have, but she didn't. So I'm like, oh, if the defense doesn't give a rat's ass, why should I? Like, they got enough with their Pharaoh scans and their 3D stuff. I think that'll be, I think that'll be enough. And plus, that house had to be completely cleaned. Think about it. It wouldn't have been preserved for a juror to walk into, because the house would have had to be completely cleaned, deep cleaned. It couldn't sit there 2.5 years with all that gory evidence still left in there, locked up, waiting for a juror to come walk through to see it, right? And if all they would have gotten a takeaway from is the house is creaky. You might have heard an echo. You might have heard a floorboard crack if somebody stepped on it. What's that going to prove? You got to put the victim in there, or the witness in there, or a juror in there. Like, okay, now you go walk up and down them stairs. Let me see if I hear you coming. That kind of thing. Like, that's just weird to me that people can't logically look at it and try to understand it without just automatically ripping it to shreds. And then people pick up on that, and then they think that's the way it is, and it's just not that way. Yeah, everybody agreed on that. And they let YouTube fight it out. They're not going to come out, I get the parents didn't want it coming down. They didn't quite understand it either. I think they understand it more now, as to the alternative. Instead of having the homes still sit there, now they get the alternative a little bit better now. Who knows? They still might think it should be kept up. I don't know. I don't think it would have mattered either way. The evidence is what's going to matter. Yeah, they couldn't. What does that mean? Did she say something about it?
Oh, what you just linked about, they knew the judge was retiring, and she knew she'd get her change of venue. I said, and, that courtroom couldn't accommodate the trial, and they all knew that.
Yeah, Ann was going to put in for that change of venue regardless of what Judge did. I know people made a big deal about, oh, look how that judge just retired. Y'all don't think he was already planning retirement?
Oh, yeah.
That shit's planned out, not like all of a sudden, oh, Koberger case, I'm out, I'm retiring. That's not what happened. But yeah, I agree. They all agreed. Yeah, she was going to put in that change of venue regardless. I think it just came a little sooner than she thought it would. Because normally you don't do that until later in a case. If you follow court cases, you'll see that come up in other cases. We see Rex Harmon doesn't care about his venue. We're not doing a venue change over there. Casey Anthony didn't get a venue change. They kept all her stuff right there in Orlando. Everything. 2.5 years nonstop Casey Anthony coverage. Boom, 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 boom. All her lies, all her everything was exposed for 2.5 solid years. All jury bias stuff was coming, all that exposure. And the lady walked out of court because the prosecution failed to get in there and prove their case adequately. Unfortunately. That doesn't mean I believe that woman's innocent of anything. I'm just saying, people want to make, it had to be done. It had to be done or he wouldn't get a fair trial. Then that's when I always go back to Casey Anthony. Did she get a fair trial? Are we going to blame that on the fact that she didn't get a change of venue? Like they would have found her guilty if they changed the venue? So it's a mute argument to me. Yeah. All right. Well, with all that said, there's not a lot to look at and read, and I do want to put together some stuff to present to you guys, especially on this 3D scanning, so we can understand it better and maybe help everybody else get a little more understanding about it, because that is evidence that will be coming into court. And I don't think it's a dollhouse. I think it's going to be way more involved than a damn Barbie dream house. Yeah, stairs. They cut out parts of the floor. They cut out parts of the walls. They did a lot in there. So it wasn't going to be the same regardless, right? And no, not every juror's happen. And I remember one of the first cases on the old forensic files where the jurors were taken to a scene and it was the edge of a cliff where somebody was either pushed or fallen. You know what I'm talking about?
Was it
Yeah.
the married couple and
Yes.
the wife had pushed
With the
the
girl.
husband off or whatever?
Was it that one, or was it the married couple that
It's a
befriended
shame that
that
it's happened more
girl?
than once, but yeah, there are a
I
few
know, right? We're
cases
like,
like that.
which one was it? Who pushed who off which cliff? Yeah, you're right. It's a shame that there's multiple cases like that, right? But I remember seeing that years ago. Was one of the first jurors to get to go to travel to a scene. It does not always happen. It's very rare. And they're not going to take the jurors out to where Madeline Soto was murdered. They did the Pharaoh 3D scans out there as well. I can't remember if it was a Colorado case, Pokemon. It was so long ago, and I've watched so many forensic files, I could not even begin to tell you where it was. But wherever they have big old cliffs, where they big old drop-offs, you won't catch me standing to the edge of a cliff near nobody. Accidents can happen. Was it Grand Canyon? I don't remember, guys. I honestly don't.
That
'Cause I know
sounds
there's.
familiar. Yeah, Donnie and I are
Yeah.
thinking about the same case. They
Oh,
was on
okay.
their honeymoon or whatever. Like they had just gotten
Yeah.
married, and yeah.
Yes. Yep, I do
And
remember
she
that
was a
case.
brunette, and
Mhm.
I'm trying to think. It
Now, the
happened like in
case
the
I'm referring
daytime,
to,
I think.
happened back in the late 80s. Like it was like one of the first cases where jurors were brought to the scene. So it was either early 90s, something. It was a very old case.
Yeah,
As
that's older
jurors,
than this
yeah.
one that we're talking about.
Yeah, it was older than this case. It was. And but I don't remember the exact details of it. I just know I can even vision it in my head right now and see the jurors standing there and what they were all wearing, and I'm like, that's late 80s, early 90s, but I don't remember the specific case. Maybe we'll look up information on jurors visiting scenes. You know what I mean? Look at
Yeah,
the
that would be
statistics
interesting.
on that. Yeah, to look at the statistics on that and see. Let me make myself a note here. And I can pull all this together this evening. And pull up some information for you guys and really dig deep into it. And see what we can, because it's true crime and I like talking true crime. I don't like I'm not out here to defend or prosecute people. That's not my jive. That's not what I'm here for. I just want to discuss the facts as we know them of the case. And, if we discuss what we've heard here and there or seen in news articles or what teachers have said before, then we're going to do that. If it's in print, we can do that. As I'm here to discuss it all. I think they did bring those jurors to the Susan Smith case. I think they did. And they went down and looked at the lake. But I can't remember for sure. But I will look it up, guys, and get some stats on that and try to pull up some cases where that actually, went down, and we'll see how often that really happens. But I don't think that house being gone is going to be a big deal. I think they're going to be really successful with their 3D scans. I think it's going to impress even the dollhouse people. Maybe not.
If only, great.
We'll see. We'll see. All right, guys. Thank you for coming in. I do got some things to do, but if I get, if these things drop, I'm not going to promise I'll go live tonight, because I think I won't, more than likely. By the time nighttime comes, I get done. I do things besides true crime all day. So I will be back in the morning because like we were live the day before yesterday or yesterday when those sets of documents dropped. So hopefully by the end of the day, business day, they'll be in the docket and we can go over them and present them to you guys in the morning and go over them as a community. So with that said, I appreciate everybody coming in. If you don't mind, if you like what you're seeing, hit the like button. If you don't like what you're seeing, I'm not sure what you're doing here, but because if I don't like what I'm seeing, I ain't staying. I'm gone. But hit the like button if you don't mind. It helps the algorithm out, they say. Thank you, Brightwell, for being she had the front row seat, man, first in line. We appreciate this with us. Like I said, she's well schooled in the case. That's why I like having her up there with me. If I don't recall something, she's going to recall it. Different things like that. So always appreciate her having her come up and discuss the case with us. Anyway, guys, I'm going to let you go for the day, and thanks for coming in. I do appreciate it, and we'll see you again tomorrow morning at some point. It won't be late morning, but it will be probably about my usual 9:30 time. So until then, you guys have a great afternoon.
Thank you all for watching this here video.